I've had several questions recently about what life was like for Highland soldiers wearing the kilt in winter. Was it worn all year round? And how did they manage to keep warm? The first part's easy. The kilt was worn all year round, right through the First World War in the trenches. There were a couple of occasions where trousers were substituted. For example, the 6th Black Watch just before the Battle of Arras in 1917 were issued trousers, because it was extremely snowy at that point. But that issue only lasted a couple of days, mainly because they forgot to issue them braces and they kept falling down. There were a couple of other instances, things like making soldiers look like they weren't Highland troops, bringing them into line by making them wear trousers, but generally, for the purposes of cold, trousers weren't issued. In terms of keeping themselves warm, it's quite complicated. The kilt itself is a good garment for keeping warm when you're moving around. It puts several layers of cloth around your waist, which keeps the internal organs warm, and the skirt and the aprons trap warm air around the legs, so it can be quite warm. That's fine when you're moving around and producing body heat. The problem comes at night, or when you're static, like being in a trench, not moving around a lot, not able to create a lot of heat. Things start to get cold, and Highland soldiers were in particular danger of getting frostbite, particularly on the knees. So they invented various ingenious ways of keeping their legs warm. In letters that he sent home, 2nd Lieutenant Alexander Gillespie of the 2nd Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders said that his men used French soldiers' trousers or pieces of sack and cloth wrapped around the legs to try and keep them warm. What they could also do, and what was more common during the day, was to turn up the hose tops over the knee so that the exposed bit of leg was covered. At night though, lots would be wearing trousers and long johns underneath the kilt. It should also be noted that the tradition of being a true Scotsman, not wearing any underwear under the kilt, is really a product of the post-Second World War army. Here we can see some of Gillespie's men wearing their improvised leg coverings and long johns. So, in short, yes, the kilt was worn all year round. It wasn't a particularly practical garment, but there were ways round the problems, and so Highland soldiers kept wearing it with pride.